Alright, as I mentioned in the previous video, in this new series I will be working on 200 3D practice drawing for beginner, intermediate and advanced CAD user. This book is authored by Sachidananda Jha. You can get this book off Amazon. And today I want to start with exercise 1. So let's get down to business right away. So I loaded exercise 1 in practice in FreeCAD 0.21. We will be using FreeCAD 0.21 version to build this model until there is a 0.22 version comes out, which I don't think it will be pretty soon because we just got this 0.21 version maybe a couple months ago. So loading the image is easy when there is a technical drawing that has these dimensions drawn on the top or like side view. It is easy to use that sketching to help our sketch in FreeCAD. So what I did is like I used the image and drag and dropped in this workspace in FreeCAD, and there it is. Now my first step is to make a sketch, and I want to build the sketch on top plane, and to do that I have to do some processing on this image. So I'll go through the image processing in detail for first say 5-6 of the videos in this series, and then maybe as I go after that I'll just refer back to these beginner videos for the new users. So the processing image in FreeCAD for sketching purpose is pretty simple. What I want to do is I want to double click on the image file from the left pane, and I want to see which plane I want to keep this image on for now, because I'll be using this top side. So I want to keep that on XY plane, and this offsetting is to actually move the image from here and there, the origin. We will come back to that later on. And rotation, let's not worry about rotation right now. Transparency, I want to keep that at half. So this may come in handy when I'm actually using the sketch and like in a body and the image goes up and down. So I will explain it when I actually use it. Maybe in this model I won't be using this feature, but I want to make that as a practice in my standard image processing step-by-step guide. Make the transparency 50%, and then the main thing is to calibrate the image. So what I want to do is like hit on this calibrate and find the longest dimension available on the drawing, which is 28 appears 3 times, so I'll probably take 28 or maybe 80. So it has 80 diameter, which is 40 in the radius. So what I want to do is pick the first point with single click on the mouse and take it to the second point. So that was another single click. Now it says the dimension. It's asking me to actually input the dimension, which will be half the 80, so 40, or I could say 80 over 2. That will do as well. So there. So that's my image calibrated. What it means is like now if I draw a line from between this point and that point, or between this point and this point, on the image actually it will be 28 times 2. So it will be representing the image dimensions to, I'm going to say 99% accuracy. So that's the calibration done, and that's all actually the image processing is. And hit OK. That image is processed now. Now as I mentioned earlier, I'll have to do some offsetting on this part. That I can do easily here. So on the keyboard, if I hit AC at the same time, the axis cross shows up. If you hit again, it goes away. So, or in the view tab, I go and say toggle axis cross. So axis cross is like the center of the workspace in FreeCAD, and that's what I'm showing now. So it says that is the center of the workspace in FreeCAD, and I want to place this image actually at a suitable location relative to this axis cross. Because this image has this object is mostly a circular object, cases like this I want to place the center of the circle at the axis cross center. So I can easily do that by right clicking on the image and say transition. So that gives me these arrows. Actually there are 3 arrows in here. So one to go Z direction, one with the X direction. So I want to, now when I move these up and down or left and right, I am not changing the location of the axis cross. The axis cross is fixed. The image file is what moving, because I brought this axis by right clicking on the image file. So that is important. I don't want to change the axis cross. I would rather change the image file from here and there, and I'm trying to move into the center. So I that's pretty close. If I made this increment up here as 0.5, maybe I can go a bit more closer, but I could leave it as it was there. I mean, I could make it right on top of the center, maybe make it 0.25, but I didn't have to do this. Actually, it would be pretty fine if I left it like, in the surrounding area. It doesn't have to be this precise, so I'm bringing it back to 1 for next use. Okay, so there it is. Now the axis cross is at the center of the circle, or rather the center of the circle is at the axis cross. Now I can do the sketching. So that was the image processing. What I did was double clicking on it, fix the plane, calibrate it, and then bring the axis cross back, relocate the image to a suitable location with respect to the axis cross. So that's all about image processing in sketching in FreeCAD. Now I want to do the actual sketching. So when I do that, it is important not to select the image. I don't want to draw the sketch with respect to the image. I want to keep them free. So just click it somewhere else and then hit with, so I want to draw that on the XY plane. XY plane is the top plane. That's what I want to draw. See, because we adjusted the location of the image, the center of the sketch comes right where we want it to be. Now sketching is easy in FreeCAD. Like any other software, I will use these basic tools here. So I'm taking the arc and draw a half circle. Maybe draw 2 lines. Okay. And take the arc again, draw another, not a full circle. So it's like, it's not a half circle and it's not a full circle. So that's what we drew. So the drawing part is done. Maybe not. I want to draw these holes too. So I'm drawing those holes on the axis. So what I'm doing is like taking the axis cross with the mouse and I'm closing it in on the axis. As long as I can see this symbol, which says constraint point onto object. So object is the axis and the point, I want to constrain that there, and just drawing the circle. Now drawing part is done. What I want to do is constrain the drawing. So first thing first, this diameter of this circle says 80. So I click on this, it says radius. So I drop it down to get more options and it says constraint diameter. That's what I want to keep, and I want to make it 80. Okay. Okay, so that one is done and that's constraint. However, this is not constraint. And that one, what we can do is we can see the radius. What is the radius of this? We apparently don't have it. Okay, we'll look for it later on. But let's go with whatever we have. We can work with that. So these 3 seems same. Diameter 10, so I selected all those three and then say 10. So their diameter is constrained, but the location is not. So the location, I can constrain them with this center, and the height of that distance is 28, and the distance between these 2 points, the vertical height is 28. Okay, and this will be 28 too, so 28. So we constrained all of those. Now only thing left, so you can see under constraint 1 degrees of freedom. So there is one dimension that we have to work on, and which appears to be the radius of this arc, which is not given right away, or is it? So the hole is given as 10. The distance between this point and this point, I don't think it's given. So it's not given. So we can take a guess. Now because we calibrated the image, the dimension should be pretty close. So I'm going to say constraint radius. Okay, it is coming around 15. So I'm going to say 15. So that's what actually having at, oh no, maybe a little bit more than 15.75. Yeah, that makes more sense. So that's a fully constrained sketch. Pretty simple. Now the sketching part is done. So let's take a look at the sketch. I can hide this image file by selecting that and hitting space on the keyboard, and it's gone. So that's our sketch. What I want to do is I want to make a pad out of that sketch for 5 millimeter. That's given in this section. So I can do that easily. I can also rename the sketch with something, say base plate. Now because it's one sketch job in this here, renaming the sketch is not making any sense, I know, but when we go into more intermediate or like advanced level of sketching, when there will be like 10-15 sketches in this one object, having them renamed pays off. So I would rather start that practice right now, even though it doesn't make any sense. So I renamed this sketch, and here is the extrusion button. I want to extrude that for 5 millimeter. Apply, close. So that is our object. That is the object. So that's pretty simple. Well, it's a one sketch job. Obviously it's a beginner sketching, and the main thing is sketching here, and then pad or like extrusion is pretty easy. So we used part workbench. I will talk about these workbenches as we go forward in the next videos in this series, but for now we used part workbench and sketching feature and then extrusion to build the object. I can probably make it look like this picture. So I can click, so I'm going to say rename that as final object. Alright, and right click on it, say set colors. Again, it's in the part workbench, and I want to select these two face and then pick screen color. So I pick that color. Okay, and then I want to select these three faces and this one, maybe this one too. For this I want to pick again this screen color. Right, so that's the object. Well, obviously it's pretty simple, one sketch job. I hope you enjoyed it. Next video I will work on exercise 2 from this book. I will see you there. Thank you for watching.